Are we up? We are up. There it is, that song. All right, so listen, we are going to try and do this thing with this radio show. We're going to be the only all Iowa talk show dealing with all forms of hockey. NHL, AHL, USHL, high school, roller hockey, little girl, 4-year-old hockey. We're going to go over it all. So I have a co-host and my boy Derek Hender here, who has been, man, you have some experience, probably maybe even more than I do.
I just say different path. How's that?
Different path. Okay, yeah. Because I remember you have always worked in, and it's not even a paid gig, actually. You've always been a American Hockey League official.
Correct.
Right? Keeping shots, you name it, right?
Yep.
You ever do plus minuses?
Yeah.
Is that hard?
It's not as bad as it looks.
For you common folk who don't know it, which is one of my favorite stats, plus minus. It really is.
Absolutely.
It shows you a lot. That is where a guy has to count who was on the ice and who is on the ice when a goal happens for or against you. And then at the end of the game, they tally up. If it's, if you were on the ice for the team scoring, the other team scores 4 goals and your team only scores 1 while you're out there, then you're -3.
Correct.
And I love that stat.
I think it's the best indicator of your team play, because if you don't have, you only have 3 or 4 goals, but you're a +5, +6, it says that, you're out there making stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I know players like using it a lot when it comes down to negotiating contracts, saying that, hey, look, I don't have the goals and assists here, but look at my plus minus, showing that you're the guy.
And also, this is something I didn't. Your plus minus doesn't happen on a power play or penalty kill, right? Is that true?
Correct, unless it's a shorthander.
Oh, shorthander does get only added as a plus, not or does it get a minus too?
Counts as a minus as well.
Huh? I didn't know that neither.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember counting goals one time, and in some game, I don't know, probably something the Flyers lost somewhere, and I remember.
I know that's hard to keep track of when the Flyers have lost.
There's a lot of minuses going on around that time, so I just remember that I was like, wait a minute, I know that he had this and that, and as I was looking through the stats, I said, man, my plus minus was 5, and it said 3, and then I got a hold of whoever it was I was keeping stats for, and he said, oh yeah, because 2 of them were power play goals.
Yep.
And I was like, so then I got it. So,
yep.
so this is all of our own opinions.
Yep.
Me and Derek are both involved with a lot of organizations and what else were we involved with? Coaching and everything else.
Coaching, playing, student of the game.
Yes. So all the opinions are our own. Does not go with our organizations.
Correct.
Or foundations and all that other stuff.
As we were discussing earlier, we don't know everything, but we certainly have opinion on most, and that probably won't stop us from sharing it. So
yeah, I mean, even if I have to pull it out of the old butt file, I'll pull something out and have something to say about something, because
opinions are free.
That's right, and I give them on everything. We are both definitely students of the game. Anyone that knows us says we are guys who will just talk hockey. I could talk hockey all day long.
Yep, there is no off season. No
off season. I know what made us think about having the show, get on with the show here in a second, was yourself and I were driving home from Mason City. We coach a select team together. And we just started going, just me and you talking about hockey. And I remember I dropped you off, and I thought, man, for one, that was a quick ride, because we were just talking hockey and our opinions on the stuff and why you feel that and I feel that, because we have the same kind of coaching style in a way. But and we'll get to this, but I'm a big believer in chippiness and talking and chirping, and you're always kind of the keep it between the whistles and don't let that go any further, and so that's what started our conversation.
Yep.
So. We're going to cover what's going on tonight, and that's where I think we're going to start our first segment with is what segments, what games are on for tonight.
Well, I got just want to give a quick breakdown of what's happening tonight. It's a great time of year. It's 4 games every night, so it's nonstop. I mean, last night I think it was 1:30 by the time I finally turned off the TV. Great triple overtime game between.
Who won that?
Chicago won it. 1 minute into the 3rd overtime. So. We'll start off in the East. We've got Montreal, Ottawa, which will kick off here about 6 o'clock Central Time. Montreal up 3-0. Myself.
That's your team.
That's my boys. Myself being a lifelong Habs fan, I honestly did not expect us to be in this position. I won't complain that we are. Am I saying this is over? No. They've had our number all year.
And Ottawa came into the playoffs with a lot of momentum.
A lot of momentum. They were riding the back of this young guy, Andrew Hammond. They call him the Hamburglar.
Right.
And he came in and I think rattled off something like a 26 games. He was 22. I have his exact numbers here somewhere. But rattled off an impressive streak for a guy coming up essentially out of college. He had a little bit of time in the American League, but just took fire when he got into the crease there in Ottawa.
Now, who's Ottawa's farm squad?
Binghamton.
Binghamton, that's right. Yes.
Yep.
So he was down there most of the year?
Yep. 40-something games ended this year. Came up in the middle of March, I believe, and just caught fire.
Okay.
Which is a crazy thing about that. As you can tell by looking at the scores, we had 2 overtime games so far, so 1-goal games.
Right.
So we're talking very disciplined hockey, so you can't get out of control. The Hamburglar got chased finally. I think, as I told you earlier, the Hamburglar, I think, has Swiss cheese on him. Mm-hmm. He looked horrible on 2 of those last goals.
Yeah.
One, he didn't move. He looked like a sawhorse. Just the thing rolled right through his legs. So now we got Anderson back in net. He played solid the other night. Probably deserved better than losing in overtime, but
he played real well.
Yeah, he did. Considering he hasn't played since March, he's played really well.
All right, so that's and then I'm obviously somewhat of an Ottawa fan just because
by proxy.
Yeah, by proxy. I have a very good friend plays on the team, so I kind of just keep tabs on that.
Yep.
And also, let's real quick talk about Ottawa sent me and you, our boys, when they were playing in a big tournament. The Ottawa Senators sent us a nice message of good luck. So
Yes.
a bunch of the guys on the team.
Yes.
So that was nice. So.
Of one of the potential guys that needs to step up, actually, was one of the guys who sent us the message, was Eric Carlson.
Yeah, he's hitting.
He's hitting, but he's not been contributing too much on the O side. So,
Yes.
This has been a tournament, it's been a series so far. Unlikely heroes for the Canadians. Flynn and Weiss have been scored game winners.
And Weiss has had that throughout his career.
Yeah, he's kind of had to take fire here and there.
Yep.
He's had time on the first line, but he's just a team guy, and he plays wherever they want him to play. So,
all right, so that's our first game tonight.
yep, that's our first thing. I'm glad we're over the whole Stone and Subban thing, which I'm sure you'll rant about later.
Later, yes.
Yes, I'm thinking about getting both my wrists microfractured so I can play that hard. Switching sides to our old affiliate here, we have Anaheim and Winnipeg.
Right.
Anaheim looking to shut things out tonight. The Anaheim coming as the 1 seed, Winnipeg being the 8. Big thing going here for Winnipeg was that they were going to be the home team, and the whole whiteout and the legacy of the whiteout. Great hockey market.
Is that where it started?
That is
that what they're saying unofficially?
Yeah, it's been 20 years since they played a playoff game there. So
they started a lot then.
Yeah,
we started that back then.
Yeah, we invented.
No one noticed because we were Winnipeg.
Exactly. Nobody knows because it's been 20 years. Yeah. So, big thing to look at. You got they're spreading it around. You got a lot. You got 10 players. Anaheim has 10 players with more than 1 point. So in a 3-game series, that's pretty hard to shut down. It's not a one-line. It's not a one-line thing. Pavelec is right now the only thing that they've got going right now for Winnipeg. We saw a little undisciplined play from Byfuglien.
Yeah,
that was kind of a little bit of a cheap shot, and then he did the classic Super Bowl interview today by saying, "I'm just here so I don't get fined."
Yeah. I like it.
So I think that's going to be, you look at Perry and Getzlaf, I think being the keys to them shutting it out tonight.
And look, once that team has momentum, I mean, they're like a steamroll. I mean, they can just go.
Yeah.
And I've seen it from being part of the organization, watching them over the years, and even seeing their third lines come up just huge sometimes where, if you can by chance shut down Perry.
Yep.
I mean, there's just Matty Bolesky, who's, a good guy and a kid that when I first met him, I always thought he'd probably make the NHL. I didn't know he'd be as much. I mean, he's going to be up there. I thought he'd be one of those guys back and forth, maybe. Yep. He didn't have the biggest size, but great kid and great work ethic, and you see it. So,
but we often know how that works out. The best guys don't always necessarily finish first, but
right.
In this case, we'll take it for that. Tonight we've got Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Rangers are up 2-1. Rangers came in as the President Trophy winners, and Pittsburgh squeaked in as the 8th seed. Mm-hmm. The thing
which was not expected.
Not expected, considering considering historically they've been so much stronger. The big thing, Pittsburgh, their backside, their D's are just destroyed.
Yeah.
They've got a couple of AHLers there and a couple of journeymen.
I mean,
That's about it.
they traded away Orpik, right?
Yeah, he went to Washington.
Washington. I mean, a couple of their real good backliners, they seem to either lost free agency or trade away, and I think you kind of see that.
Yep.
You see that being picked apart.
Yep. What's the guy with the hair?
Letang?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been hurt a lot this year. That really makes a big difference to their game.
And, you know, not to bring up the Flyers, but he was
I
actually...
wouldn't expect you to.
He was actually first hurt on a cheap shot by, who was it? Not, who hit him? Somebody hit him and put him out, and that was his first big injury.
I remember that. I can't remember the name.
It'll come to me. But
Yep.
So anyway, that's so their whole back line has been, and how goaltending
Right now, Fleury's been average. Fleury himself has had a history of inconsistency.
Yep.
I think the big thing, as much as I hate to say it, is Lundqvist is playing like Lundqvist. He's looks a lot like the guy that took him to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Ronaldo, Zach
Ronaldo.
That's who knocked him out the first.
There you
Sorry,
go.
just caught in my head.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, you look at it right now. We talked earlier about Anaheim. You look at the Rangers; they're very similar teams, very complete teams, very fast teams. There's no fourth lines. You're basically rolling four lines. It's not a matter of trying to hide anybody.
Who would you take, Malkin or who's Rangers' big guy?
Nash.
Nash. Who would you take?
Nash.
If
he
more
ever
complete.
Plays like he could.
Is he a back checker, you think, Nash? Or either? Well,
He's got size,
Okay.
and he's got good hands for a big guy. Kind of reminds me of Mario along that way as far as a big guy with hands. He doesn't play too terribly physical, which you would anticipate. I mean, he's the size of Bufflin, but doesn't play like it. I don't know. It's
not a power forward, but just
he's a force.
okay.
He's a force.
Okay, so you take Nash.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I just still remember that one of his last goals with Columbus when he turned 5 guys inside out.
Yeah,
That was just unreal.
On every highlight reel.
Yep. So honestly, I'm surprised that Pittsburgh's managed to fight one out of them, but it is the playoffs. Anything can happen still.
And look, Crosby stepped up, especially in that second game. I
Yep.
mean, as much as he's not my favorite player because he's one of those guys you love to have on, but
Yep.
when he's not on your team, he's a crybaby and a diver and all this stuff. But that last game, just his fundamentals around way he is around that net with the stick down. I mean, he's always just there,
Yep.
and so that was a good game.
And finds open ice. How do these guys like Ovechkin and Crosby and Malkin and these guys? You look at them in the show, the replay. There's no one around them for 10 feet.
Yeah.
How
do
does a
they?
guy like that get that kind of open ice?
You're so right because that going in that locker room, that number's got to be circled on the board.
Yep.
On
You
the
got
other
your
person.
assignment.
Yeah, to watch them, stick them,
Yep.
and then you watch So when you're watching that replays and you're especially on the other team and it's time to do some video coaching, you got your head down like.
That wasn't my jersey number, was it?
Yeah. I was changing.
That's right.
So,
Like a knockdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last big one we have is Blues and the Big Wild going tonight. Minnesota up 2-1. The only story to talk about here is Devin Dubnyk.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. He was a desperation pickup at the trade deadline. And the Wild have even admitted that he was a desperation pickup because Backstrom and the combination of Backstrom and Kemper were just not getting it done.
Yeah.
And he had something like 26 straight starts as well, kind of like along the same lines and timing as Hammond had, and just tore off a wicked streak. The boys love playing for him. He had a goals against something like 1.7. It's just unreal.
Wow.
For a guy that came out of nowhere. So,
And I don't know how I feel about the Blues. Again, I like the hard-hitting, chippy play, but sometimes it just seems like, even like Bacchus, it just seems like you're like, that's just dirty. I mean, the constant knowing if you're on the ice with them, you're going to feel it. Something's going to happen to you. But then you want to root for them. They never won a cup.
Yep.
Never won a cup. I love Oshie. Love TJ. He's a roller kid, so of course I stand by a lot of the roller hockey kids coming up. But that line, I'm trying to think who was on that line. It's Bacchus and Oshie and someone else, and so. That's been
it's
a
not
pretty.
Tarasenko's line, is it? Or,
I don't think so. And then, I don't know. I'm trying to think who was on that line. It's Bacchus and Oshie and someone else, and so that's been a pretty.
Tarasenko's line, is it? Or, I don't watch them enough to even pretend.
Yeah, no, but it's not. No, that's the second. So, but to see that, I want them to. I'm torn sometimes. I watch the game and I'm thinking, man, that's just dirty, and I start to kind of root against some of the guys on the team because it's just too dirty.
Yep.
And Backus isn't my favorite player. I was upset last year when he got knocked out and they stood above him. Wakey, Backus. I was kind of mad about that. But so we're gonna take a break right now. When we come back, we'll finish up with the Blues and see how that goes, and then we're going to go on to our next segment. What is our next segment before we go?
Next one, we're going to get into some local connection. We try to set the flavor of this being the other state of hockey and just kind of showing connections that we have here in the Iowa market with some guys that are currently in the playoffs.
Which is a lot.
There's a lot. It surprised me when I started digging.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come right back with local connections to hockey.
The RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. This is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back if you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
All right, so welcome back to the other state of hockey. So just to re-clarify what this is going to be a show that we deal with hockey, NHL, American Hockey League, USHL, East Coast Hockey League, you name it, League.
It could be just a recount of Frank playing EA Sports last night.
Absolutely. Or me playing in the Huff and Puff League. And,
could be
and
that
how
too.
I dominated last night in
or
Huff
didn't.
and Puff. So the guy that was going around did not escape, but I mean, I dominated him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I made sure to tell him that too every time I did. So we'll go over all that. Youth hockey, me and Derek are both very involved in youth hockey. Ice, both of us doing ice, and then I particularly am into roller. And so we'll go over that stuff, and we're going to do this every Wednesday during the playoffs now and see where this goes. But we just want to give everyone a little highlight. We're going to follow, if you don't want to follow, we will follow all the local boys that are still playing. And when we say local, we don't mean born and raised in Iowa, but we mean they've one time or another called Iowa home in hockey. any way they could. Came up in the American Hockey League, again, USHL with the Des Moines Buccaneers. So we'll follow that stuff, and then we'll just go over what we think is going on in the playoffs, and then our own little personal opinions on stuff that you might or might not agree on. So if you do agree on what we're saying, then email us and say, wow, I really agree with you. If you don't agree on what we say, you could send it to the idon'tcare.com website, and we'll take care of that later. So we're going to try and follow that up, but right now we're going to try and stick with some local. But before we get to local, we didn't get to finish up on the Blues mini series, which will actually lead us right into the local, because we have a lot of guys up right now playing in
absolutely. That. So just like I said, talking about mini, the fact that they're up 2-1. They have an incredible home record. They have an incredible home arena atmosphere there. But when you look at how much of a factor Dubnyk has been, the defense has been, they have 3 players that have more than 1 point. That's it. They're spreading it around. They're not scoring a lot of goals. So the thing that really scares me about this series, I think, honestly, like you kind of said earlier, is St. Louis has got the guns. When do the sleeping giants wake up?
You're right.
When does Tarasenko go on a tear? When does Backes go on a tear? When does Oshie go on a tear? You can go down through the line there. There's a lot of guys.
Has he ever been a 30-goal scorer? I think. I mean, I know they're pulling out, come on, you don't know that stat?
Oh, sorry. Hang on, let me
pull it right out of my file back here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know if he has been, no. I know he's a force to be messed with.
Yep.
I just don't know if he's ever been a 30-goal scorer.
Yeah.
So.
And, honestly, I think with more parity in the league and with ice time being more balanced, I think 30-goal scorers doesn't have the potential of becoming a 30-goal scorer is going to be the same.
Yeah.
When you look at guys managing their ice time to 45 seconds a shift.
Yeah.
And 4 lines rolling, yourself. You roll 4 lines because you need that energy. You need that to be able to wear these guys down. So.
And you need that. What I like, especially even bring it back to youth hockey, but when you roll 4 lines, even in youth hockey, that first line is dying to get back on and dying to get their time and dying to make sure that, hey, coach, I should be out there more so I love that.
Keeps them hungry.
Yeah.
Keeps them hungry. So real quick, just looking at the other series, which the only other one I really wanted to spend a little bit of time on. Well, we can talk a bit about Vancouver and Calgary. Vancouver's kind of folding up like a cheap lawn chair at this point. Burroughs went to the hospital by ambulance from practice this morning.
I didn't hear about this. What did they say?
Apparently he has broken ribs, but interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Calgary is just a little engine that could at this point, because they lost Giordano, they lost Diaz, they lost Boma, and they're still going. They got basically unless you follow Calgary, they're a team of nobody.
Yeah.
And for them to be up 3-1 on a team like Vancouver is, I think, says a lot.
And Calgary too. That's another home ice advantage right there. That's a loud place, and one of those places that as an opposing player, it's a little, it's just they're right on top of you there.
Yep.
I don't know how old that arena is. The older arenas, they used to really, the old Boston Gardens and all, they were right on top of you. And I think the way that, from what I remember, I think Calgary's still that same
Saddle
style.
Dome, I think, was opened in 86 or 87.
Yeah, so it's definitely that style where they're right on top of you.
Yep.
So.
Plus a good smart hockey market, honestly. And that's not just a plug for my peeps from Calgary.
And Calgary is too, and they talk about the demographics. Calgary's kind of a farming, isn't that kind of the
Cowtown?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what it's all about. It's kind of an Iowa. Is it?
It's kind of a Texas-y.
That's a better example.
Yeah. A lot of oil, a lot of cows. So. Tampa, Detroit. Not much really to say about there. Tampa's down 2-1. Mrazek is starting to become the biggest story there, but other than that.
And I want to follow that more next week, the Tampa story.
Yeah, that one will still be here kicking around next week.
You wonder. That's when all right, real quick, who do you think is going to make it out of that?
Tough to say. I think Tampa's starting to look a lot like the San Jose of the East. They're great in the regular season. They seem to run into problems when they get in the playoffs. They got swept 4 games straight last year.
Who swept them last year, remember?
I think it was Montreal.
I think it was Montreal.
I'm pretty sure it was. I could check, but I can go back and look. So, Detroit came in as the number 6 seed, but Detroit's still got some horses there. You got Datsuk is still there, Abdicator's still there.
I mean, you can
Tatar,
never count.
Yurko. You got a lot of guns there.
Yeah, and you can never count the Red Wings. Never.
No.
I mean, they're just...
Babcock's a phenomenal coach. He can squeeze blood out of a turnip.
Yeah, and their farm system has always done well and always has guys that I think other teams would pull from their farm system if they could to start off with. So.
Washington and Rangers right now tied. it's kind of that'll be around, I think, still next week for us to talk about.
Washington
And the Islanders.
And that's going to be,
That's once again sleeping giants. Backstrom comes to life. Ovi comes to life.
And the Islanders has had such a season.
They had such a great start, but hit the skids.
And it's their last year in the arena.
Yep.
They're moving.
Yep.
And so they start, I remember 2 years ago, you watch an Islanders game at home, it was empty.
Yep.
It was not more, if you were watching a Flyers Islanders or a Habs Island, it was more of their fans.
Yep.
And then this year it's been back to the old 80s, back to the old 1980s series.
Bringing back the pride.
Yeah. So
it's good to see.
Yeah, but if they get knocked out right away, that would be kind of bad. But
yeah. Other one, as we alluded to earlier, we had that late game last night, Chicago-Nashville. Chicago has a stranglehold, 3-1 currently. Big story here is our boy Darling. Crawford had his chance, and there's a lot of speculation about, do you go back to Crawford? He won you a cup. Well, I think Crawford was with them when they won a cup. I think, as was the case with Niemi before, he didn't have to steal games. He won he was on the team when they won, but he didn't have to win for any games for them. He was shaky at best last time through.
And that Neal goal on him it trickled by. I mean, it was just like one of those freak little.
Well, you've played enough net, Frank. You have to stop all the puck.
You do
90% of it. Yeah.
and it's just funny because that just to see I kind of know James, and he's a sniper.
Yep.
And he couldn't score on me in practice, but I'll bring that up another day
when
I practice with them guys. But anyway, that goal was just one of them things where this kid's playing amazing net. And that one of those goes by.
Yep.
And it's like, does that start the floodgates?
It's like Fleury in Pittsburgh. He'll make an incredible save, and then one will go through him that he should have saved. But Crawford kind of likens me to Grant Fuhr back in the 80s. He was a decent goalie, or at least heralded as a good goalie because of the fact he had such a great winning percentage. But, I mean...
he had Messier.
Yeah, he could let in 4 or 5 a game and still win, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that Tikkanen. I mean, I think.
Oh yeah, Gretz, Tikkanen. You can just go on and on for that.
I could have goaltended for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You put a traffic cone in net, and they would have probably still won half the time.
Which would probably be better to me in that.
But I think 2 big things out of this: Kane is back, starting to look like the old Kane.
Yeah.
Shea Weber being out for a team that was built from defense out for Nashville, to lose that big gun on D, that hurts him a lot.
Yeah.
So.
He's such a huge player.
Yep.
He's just I know so many teams, especially when he was coming up with some of those contract disputes. Or he might be going to free agency, and I remember so many teams even my Flyers made.
They made an offer sheet on him,
and they matched it, and I think they did the right move.
They had to.
He's such a dominant player. So.
Yep. So we'll kind of go into local connections. So basically, for this, what we're doing is following guys that have had a local connection to here, one shape, form, or another. So just kind of looking at the teams that are still in the playoffs, Matt Bolesky, as you mentioned earlier, from Anaheim, former Iowa Chop, hasn't had a whole lot of success so far. He's played 3 games, 3 games.
I helped Matt Bolesky buy his first car here. No lie. He was having visa issues coming on board, and Matt will back me up on this. He couldn't get the right paperwork with his agent and all this stuff, and he needed a car when he lived here in Des Moines. And so I had to get all the paperwork from like 3 different parties, because that was my job with the team, was to make sure that the players were good and taken care of and had their housing. And so I remember the first time I ever helped anyone with the car was Matt Bolesky. Huh. So anyway, and it was a nice car. So by the way,
best Chevy Impala you could get him in.
I mean, that Ford Ranger could run.
Winnipeg, only guy right there now that has any kind of connection here, Adam Party, who's from actually my neck of the woods back in Eastern Canada. Played for Quad Cities, 2 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. Getting 18 minutes, not bad for a young guy who's really been considered a 3rd or 4th line defenseman.
You say young guy, 22, 21?
He's probably 24 or so, now.
Yeah.
Seems like he's been around for a while. For Chicago, Mr. Darling, as we talked a bit about that series before, he has an interesting take on this whole series between Nashville and Chicago. Obviously, he's from Chicago, plays for Chicago,
right.
But this time last year was a Nashville property.
That's right. I did know that. I did know. Wow, I knew because he roomed with. His roomie for a whole season was. I'm going to get onto a subject I can't throw out all the names, but he has a good local connection on that.
He played for the North Iowa Outlaws out of Mason City, AHL. He played in the USHL for Indianapolis, so he's played here at Bucks a lot. But for me, he got his first American Hockey League start and win with the Milwaukee Admirals. And
who was the backup in that game?
I believe I was, actually.
Yeah, you were the backup.
Yes, it was the other half of my professional hockey career.
Did they make you keep stats when you did that?
No, I didn't do anything except keep the stool from floating, and I kept my gloves on to protect the equipment guy from getting pucks in the head. So.
There you go. So hold on, before you get started on that, because I want to go into some more local stuff here, because we have some other big players that are out there.
Yes. Moving right along.
The other state of hockey, again, talking about Iowa's connection to hockey, what's going on in hockey, because hockey actually is growing here.
Absolutely.
Youth-wise is growing. Trying to get to high school is growing. But when we come back on the other state of hockey, we're going to finish out with a lot of our local connections and then some opinions on some things that, again, you might agree on, might not agree on. But that's the point, because I know that me and Derek will probably not agree on everything. That's why I think we're good at doing this show. So stay with us, pay some bills, come back, and we'll finish up on the local, and then what else is going on here, and then our opinions. Be right back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs,
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. Fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
Welcome back to the other state of hockey here in this great state of Iowa, which being surrounded by hockey states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Michigan.
Even Nebraska.
Even Nebraska, Omaha.
Kansas City has good programs.
we have always kind of been in the shadow of some of those states. And, look, granted, Iowa is a college football, basketball, wrestling.
Yep.
And I know someone will probably correct me on that. We are the leading state in egg producing. Do you know that?
Until the other day,
bird
yes.
flu? Yeah, because that's the biggest news. That's how come I know that too.
Yeah, there you go.
So anyway, this show is dedicated to what is coming out of Iowa, what's been in Iowa, and what is going on in Iowa.
Yep.
And we hope that you join us. We'll be doing this every week, and at least till the end of the playoffs in the Stanley Cup, as I will probably rightly predict who will win series, and Derek will usually predict with his heart, which will probably be wrong, because he'll probably get the Habs one right, but after that, he'll be...
because we know Philly's not in it, so you don't have your heart in it at all, right?
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I got some good friends and people that I'll be seeing this summer, hopefully, and hopefully they'll go further in the playoffs so that when I see them, they're not soggy on it. But so I have my heart with some players, but not the teams per se. But I do have people I'm rooting for, and I will keep that to myself for now until they win the Stanley Cup. Then I'll say, I told you that was the team I was rooting for the whole time. But anyway, so we're going to get back to our
local connections.
Our local connections. So what else we got here?
All right. Islanders. Kyle Okposo, we're in the A for the Islanders.
A Buck?
A former Buck. He was here last time we won a championship. He's got 2 goals and an assist, +2 right now in 3 games. So he's getting almost 19 minutes of ice time. He's definitely a force on that team.
Is he an American too? American boy?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He was one of the snubs from the last Olympic team.
Okay, that's right. I knew that. And then I think he also, let me say it, I think he's a roller guy. I think he came up playing roller.
Could be. Let's see. Detroit has 2 guys. Eric Cole, who's currently hurt right now with a spinal contusion, I believe it is.
Now, he had a broken neck before.
He did have a broken neck, yes, when he was with Carolina.
That's right.
He came back, and he's currently injured right now, but he was a former Des Moines Buck. Everyone tends to forget about him. Drew Miller is also on that team. He's got a point in 3 games, +1. He's a former Iowa Chop, one of your boys.
Yeah, one of my guys. And I worked with him on a lot of great, one of the best community guys ever. Mm-hmm. He was one of those guys where you put up anything that had to do with kids or families. He even went out sometimes and was like, hey, and this is around Christmas time, he's like, Frank, I want the team to adopt some families. And I was like, well, that's not really what I was put on my docket to do. And he's like, just get it done. And I was like, all right, Drew. And now he's also playing with that nasty scar.
Yeah. He missed, 2 games?
He missed 2 games.
Got a skate to the face.
Yeah, pretty nasty one. The night it happened, talking with him, and he said there was no vision. And because I thought this could be bad. This could be. Remember that one guy, Islander, what was his Brian Berard. That's it. Poor guy, great talent, and then lost 45% of the vision out of one eye.
Did make a comeback, wore the visor, but it was never the same.
Never the same. Yep. And they said he obviously had a blind spot. And with as fast as the NHL is, as fast as hockey is, period, I mean, you need that vision on the side. So
his brother's not bad either.
Ryan, yeah, no, not bad.
Goaltender for Vancouver.
And he is so skinny, that dude.
I know.
He's a skeleton.
Yeah. Let's see. Keeping with the Des Moines Bucks thread here, Jeff Petrie playing for my boys, the Montreal Canadiens, late season pickup, number 26 for.
What's his stats? Anything?
He's got actually no points right now in 3 games, +2. He's averaging almost 24 minutes in ice time. I know when Subban got the ejection in Game 1, he was one of the guys that threw the team took on that additional responsibility.
24 minutes of ice time +2 is pretty phenomenal in the NHL.
Yeah.
I mean, I would retire off them.
Yeah, exactly. Anything 22 minutes plus, you're a stud.
Yeah.
So. Last one I got. This kid, I've never heard of this guy, Bobby Ryan.
Oh,
do you know anything about this guy?
This guy, he's cool. He's all right. So his fiance is kind of a cool chick, but he's a guy, give or take. So.
The big thing we have with Mr. Ryan, aside from being Frank's boy, he's currently snake bitten. He has no points, no assists. He seems to be probably squeezing the stick a little bit too hard.
So.
For a sniper to not be able to put a puck on net, he's kind of rocks your world. So
I'm predicting tonight. A prediction: point +2 with a victory.
Wow,
Bobby Ryan.
Wow, So he's
he
got
might
to
even
stop
make
all
a
the
high.
shots too, as well as
He
make
might
them.
be he's really good at, and not just, and this is from just hockey. There's a lot of guys that are on his highlight reel that
He's gone around and through.
and you pick up your cup and you're like, okay, I'll wait until next shift or next game, and please take me off the ice now, coach, so I don't stand here. So, and I like to see that come out again tonight, and I think it might.
So kind of a little segue, actually. We were looking at all the all the players that have come out of Iowa. We've got a lot of minor league players, college players and whatnot right now that are coming out of Iowa. Who's the only Iowa-born or the first Iowa-born player to play in the NHL?
Got to be Scott, right?
Scott Clemenson. You would normally, I up until this afternoon was convinced of that, and according to HockeyDB.com, which is the Bible on player stats and whatnot, a guy named Russ Anderson, born in Des Moines, played 519 games. 519 games. He had impressive numbers.
7-8 seasons?
Yep.
What would that be?
Started off with the Penguins, Whalers, and the Kings. So went from 76 to 85. 22 goals, 99 assists for a total of 121.
What years?
1,086 PIMs, penalty minutes. So that's your kind of boy there.
Wow. That's a Davey Allison guy.
Yeah, he had trouble keeping his mitts on, apparently.
What years again?
76 to 85.
Wow.
We're going to have to ask Davey about him.
I will. I asked Davey. Yeah, I got a couple people I want to ask about him because I'm talking with a couple old guys that coming up in the NHL in the early 80s that were some brawlers. Just been, by chance, been talking with them lately. And I want to ask about this guy because I had no idea.
And Davey's been known to try to break somebody's knuckles with his nose. So.
Right. There was a good story. Who was that guy who came and visited us?
I knew you were going to bring that up. I've forgotten the guy's name.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I remember he was a mountain of a man.
Yeah, big man. I'll look it up while we're talking.
Yep. So just kind of wanted to give a little bit of breakdown on our local associations. I'm going to give a little bit on the ice situation, and Frank will just roll right into the roller situation. We're both uniquely positioned on this. So Des Moines Youth Hockey is one of the largest, is probably the largest, no, not probably, it is the largest youth hockey association in the state of Iowa. You look at numbers, we're right behind Omaha, who has a couple hundred more kids. But when you consider the population,
and more sheets of ice.
a lot more ice. It's unbelievable. Plus a lot of good tradition of hockey over there, of which Gordy played there.
Glenn Cochran.
That's the guy.
our guy.
That's our guy.
Came and watched our boys play one time.
That's right.
So, go ahead.
So Des Moines Youth, we've got about 520 kids right now. It goes from ages 6 through high school. We've got our numbers are up. They've been going up consistently, which for any kind of kid sports in an area that we're told is not a hockey market, chew on that.
Yeah.
And anyone tells you hockey's, my kids are never playing hockey, it's too expensive. It's what you want to do. You're looking at house league, you're looking at $640 or so for an entire season, practice and a game a week. Gear can be expensive, but it depends on what way you want to go with it.
And we've always been able to find gear.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. And we also have scholarship programs here in the city. That the Gabe Fleming Memorial Foundation is one that actually is a scholarship program that helps offset.
I know a few kids have gone through that.
Yes.
It's been a great deal.
Yep.
It's really introduced the sport.
Yep.
So.
Played with his brother. I actually was in the tournament that was named after the Memorial Tournament last weekend.
That's right, 3-on-3.
3-on-3. My knees still hurt from that, but.
Is that from sitting on a bench?
No, that was being up and down about 700 times. So, Des Moines Youth, we've got everything. We've got house, we've got select, which is kind of like travel light, and then we have the full-on travel programs. We've got high school league as well as a high school travel, essentially. We have the Oak Leafs and the Capitals, which I happen to be sporting my Oak Leafs today.
Goalie coach, all right?
I am goalie coach for the Oak Leafs. Also, in addition, the rink owner management has got a AAA program started here, the Iowa AAA Wild.
And affiliated with them?
It is affiliated. Actually has endorsement and support from the Iowa Wild and the Minnesota Wild. So it's good to see. It's good to see those big logos on the ice at the rink.
First year, right?
It is their first year. They only had 2 teams, a U16 and a U18. They struggled out of the gate a little bit, but got some good credibility.
When you're a new AAA team, you're going to struggle. There's no you don't come on board the first 2 years, 3 years, and it's not set up that way.
So as far as Des Moines Youth, we've got a girls program now. You literally whatever, it's scaled to whatever you want. You have a 6-year-old who wants to play, we have a program for that. You have a 14-year-old who wants to play travel, we have programs for that. We offer everything from the basic house league all the way up through the elite AAA program here in this market. So,
and also, and there is really good coaching here. And I'm not just making a slide because we both coach in it. But
it helps.
Yeah, it helps. Really, there's a lot of coaches in this league and from our house league to a lot of our travel that I would have no problem with my child playing for that coach and knowing that he's teaching them the right things and to love the game and so just know that. Look, hockey is a great character sport.
Absolutely.
You have to have some toughness, you have to have some will, and you have to have some determination that I'm going to practice and I'm going to get better. If not, all the kids pass you by.
I always tell people that hockey is the microcosm of life. Is rewards for hard work. You work your tail off, you see rewards. You enjoy working with people. You have opportunity for leadership. You have a chance. It's a sport that'll take you a long way. And as we said in pregame speech once to our 12U team last winter, is that some of you guys are going to be looking around on a Sunday night, looking at a beer league, looking at each other. Mm-hmm. And you're going to remember the time we were in Omaha and we beat their select team, and the laughs we had then. So.
And every kid that I coach and will continue, every kid as they're learning to skate, I tell them this: I don't count how many times you fall down, because they all fall down when they still do. But I say, I don't count how many times you fall down. I only count how many times you get back up.
Yep.
And then later on, as I start to keep coaching them in their later years, I always say, I mean that in life too. Like they'll come in and mom's on me for this, or I say, hey man, remember I told you you're gonna fall down. It's not just in hockey.
Pick it up.
Pick it up.
Yep.
Dust yourself off, get back in the game, and fix it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So that's just kind of the quick overview of what we have here for ICE. Of course, we have Ames also has an association. There's associations in Iowa City, Mason City, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, just one in Okoboji, Sioux City, Sioux Falls. There's, which I know is South Dakota, Sioux Center, Omaha, which brings into the Council Bluffs area. Quad Cities, Dubuque. There's a lot more than people would normally lead you to believe. So, with that, actually, I'm going to let you do a little segue talking about roller.
Yeah. Before we take our hard break here, I've been very active now in the new roller league. Now, there was always a roller league going on here, but I just decided that I was going to. Me and another guy, Rob Cooker, we just decided we were going to take on a new position with the roller, and we took it over, and we started out with about 30 kids, and I can tell you right now in our spring league, we're now at about 142 kids. 17 teams in our roller. It's a good way to start if ISIS seems too far-fetched or it's too much equipment. So it's a good way to kind of lead into it because most of the kids go on. We have a team, the Des Moines Explosion, which has gone on and won the national championship in Colorado last year. And these are our 12Us, our 10Us, 8Us, and just a really good, hard program. It's a travel program. We take them all over the country. In fact, right now, as I'm speaking, our best 10U team is on its way right now to Detroit to play in a really big tournament where, they will play against some kids, and they will be playing against kids that will someday be pro hockey players. Yeah. That's where they're at right now. So
it's a good way to put into also that it's a good way to augment your, I primarily have been on the ice side. You've primarily been on the roller side. These programs complement each other because you go year-round. It gives you a chance to go year-round. It allows you different skills, gives you a fresh change. I know my youngest has got a revitalized interest in playing roller now.
Yeah. He's on my team?
Good draft pick, I might add.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I may trade it for him. I did. I traded for him last week. So
even better. But it's kind of revitalizes interest. It's something new for him to try. It works on different skills. Skating is a little harder. Stopping is a little harder. Puck handling is different.
Puck handling is harder.
Makes you a better puck handler. Makes you a better skater. So.
And my kid's one of those kids that's kind of obvious when you see, and a lot of people always say, well, because he does the dangle moves. He is the dangler, and it's all that came because we took a couple years to play roller. So our roller program is really growing here, and I'm hoping other cities. We will be representing Iowa in State Wars, which is the international, even though we say state wars and think United States, but there's tons of Canadian teams that come down. And so we will be representing our own state this year, because last year my son had to go play for another state because we didn't have enough good players here. So, and he won bronze in AAA. So anyway, great programs growing up and coming up in this city. And so with that, we're going to take our last break here. We can come back with some opinions, talk about maybe some media coverage on hockey here in this great
or
state.
lack thereof.
Yeah, the Des Moines Register. So, and even the news channel. So anyway, come back. Again, this is the Other State of Hockey, bringing you hockey that is happening in this state of the egg producer. We'll be right back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back if you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places. Especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
All right, welcome back to the Other State of Hockey show. Again, we will talk about hockey in Iowa, talk about what's going on in the NHL, American Hockey League. Try to follow all those players. If there's someone we missed, you can email us or find out how to email us or text me or get a hold of Derek or send
people know
signals.
how to get a hold of us, apparently.
People know how to get a hold of us. So, and say, hey, no, that's so-and-so is still there, and he grew up in, Cedar Falls, Rapids, Iowa somehow. And so, anyway, we'll try to follow that player and his stats for this year in the playoffs. Again, it's just a great way to show that hockey is alive in this state.
Yep.
And and with that is a great way to bring up that the media here is horrible. They are brutal to hockey.
Yep.
I worked in marketing for two of the American Hockey League teams were here, and we couldn't pay them to cover us. And the Des Moines Register is a joke. It's especially their sports section. I don't care about any other stuff. You open up any day the sports section of the Des Moines Register. It is 2 pages. Which I've seen in high
track
school.
and field, volleyball,
football,
of course. Football takes up 3/4.
So thinking about coming to Iowa,
right?
And when last night, there
how
was
Ferentz is not going to get fired, or
So and look, and I'm not knocking. I love the Iowa football. I mean, I'm a more of a pro football guy. I'm not going to get. That's great. Let Iowa but it's obnoxious the way it's just, and then they'll have a little blurb. Oh, and
that's not true. They will go other way, especially I'll call him out. Keith Murphy on Channel 13 will go out of his way to make a dig at how pathetic the season has been for the Bucks or for the Wild. Not a mention. There's every mention of every high school football in there. Des Moines Capitals won the JV tournament last year. Did not get mentioned on the news.
We won the Nationals. Roller, and we asked them.
Des Moines Oakleys took 3rd place in nationals last year for high school.
Nothing.
Not a mention anywhere in local media.
Nope. And here's what they've said to us, because again, we both have experience with
Yep.
this, but I worked on the marketing side, so I've been in these conversations, and they say, this is not a hockey state. This is not a hockey market.
Yep.
Well, you help it stay that way. You help it continue to be that way, even when there are teams and businesses moving here and are doing well
Yep.
because of hockey. And they're still just, it's because you don't like it. It's because they don't.
Exactly.
And some of them say, well, I'm a hockey guy. I followed the Red Wings when I was a kid. Good for you, buddy. That's great. Do you know what this means? And so that's where we've been with this. And that's why we started this.
Yep. When I hear that, Des Moines is not a hockey market. You look at our Iowa Wild here, did not have the greatest success on the ice this year. Mostly due to,
set a record.
They set a lot of records, but the fact is they were still a top 10 drawing team. So when we're averaging 6,000 and 7,000 people a game, tell all those people this isn't a hockey market.
Yeah.
Where our attendance was better combined than it was with the Chops and the Stars, but yet this isn't a hockey market.
Right.
So if you have 6,000 people at a game on a Friday night, but you have 1,200 people at an Energy game, why are you showing Energy game highlights?
Yeah.
So, the feed, we've been told that, we want to focus on local connections and, iCubs. Okay, I get it. Okay, this is the Midwest Cubs. Everyone loves the Cubs, and they are a local team, but they don't have any Iowans playing on that team. I'm pretty sure they don't have many Americans, to be quite honest with you. Energy, like I said, 1,200 people in the stands. They've had one sniff of success. Good for them. I appreciate that. It's a good effort. Barnstormers, they've struggled, yet they still cover their games. Menace, they still cover their games. Stanley Cup, when the 2012, when the Kings won it, it was scored by a former Iowa Star player with two guys on the team who play for the Bucks.
Right.
Not a mention that three guys with a Des Moines connection had their name scratched on the cup.
No.
It's just insane.
And, here's a story, and anyone that knows me knows how this drove me up the wall, and I think you might remember this. The Red Wings in the Cup, I think it was Red Wings, Penguins. A tornado warning goes out in Creston. Is that Creston?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
They had one a couple of years ago.
Yep. This didn't happen this time. It was just a warning. That happened later, the real tornado. Ed Wilson, Big Head Ed.
Yep.
Came on and during the Stanley Cup game and did not go off. It would not go off the air. All other networks had gone back to just having it the ticker. There's a warning. I get it. Look, safety first. Great. Look, we got sirens. that tell me to go to my...
Penguins were in against the Red Wings.
Yep.
I remember that because I was with two of my friends, one of which is a diehard Penguins fan. We were at Hooters when it was still opened. And you're right. Ed was on there, and he was large as life with, I think, down in the corner was a postage stamp-sized inconvenience of having to broadcast a bit of the national broadcast game.
This is, if anyone can go back, there's a time where they let people on the air who had seen hail. I call up, get on TV. They said, oh, so, because I told the screener, hey, I seen some hail, and so I call up, they let me on, and they said, have you seen some hail? I said, no, the only ice I'm not seeing is on the hockey game right
behind
now.
Ed Wilson's head.
And they just heard him shut it down. Oh, man. I think they blocked my number permanently. So,
probably.
But I know people that went down to the station.
Yep.
It was pretty brutal.
Yep.
And it's just a good example of that.
So I pulled some quick numbers out of curiosity, talking about local. We talk about there's currently only one guy in the NHL under that's from Des Moines. And you look from college and high-end juniors up through the AHL, there are 27 Iowa-born kids, not playing, including kids that have played here at a certain point in their career. But for a sport that's not a hockey market, there's, you're talking 30 kids that were born here, that grew up playing here, that are still playing right now. There are 3 baseball players born in Iowa in Major League Baseball. How many NBA players are you supposed to have from Iowa if basketball is such a huge sport? And I'm not just knocking on the college people.
No, I know. I'd say 1.
2. 6 NFLers. Now you have 50 guys on a roster, too.
Right.
6. Okay, so there's a little perspective. Mr. Murphy, I know you're not listening, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But we'd love to have that conversation with you, but albeit as one-sided as it could be.
Yeah. No, you're more than welcome to come on this.
Yep. How are we doing for time there, Frank?
We are about out of time. This is the look. This is the other state of hockey. You have an opinion on this, you can get a hold of us. We more than love to talk about it. This is the greatest game on earth to me. This is a game I can talk about 24 hours a day, 20. You name it, I can talk hockey. And I know that Derek can, and that's why I think this is a good fit. Every Wednesday night before the game start, 5 to 6, just listen. Put us on your computer. You put us on your phone. Do whatever. Just give us a listen and see if your opinion fits. It's about time people are talking hockey in Iowa. And we're going to continue to do this, hopefully follow it up through the Stanley Cup. Then we can even go through the draft picks because I'm that much of a hockey nerd, and I know Derek is more of a nerd and a hockey fan too than I am. So thank you for listening. From me, from Derek, keep your stick on the ice, and we'll see you next week.
Go Habs.